Happy New Year 2024. A few hours in and already a spicy one. Here is the biggest news thus far. For those that have said the military is the only way, here comes the cavalry. A few moments ago, an open letter to the American people was posted by veteran Brad Miller at BradMiller1010 on X, which is a declaration of military accountability signed by 231 retired and active military service members, which I will read to you. It is entitled An Open Letter to the American People from Signatories of this Declaration of Military Accountability. It begins with a quote from John Adams. Our Constitution was made only for a moral and religious people. It is wholly inadequate to the government of any other. Here's the letter. In the course of human events, it sometimes becomes necessary to admonish the lawless, encourage the faint-hearted, and strengthen the weak. We have reached just such a time in our history. The affairs of our nation are now steeped in avaricious corruption, and our once stalwart institutions, including the Department of Defense, are failing to fulfill the moral obligations upon which they are founded. Standing upon our natural and constitutional rights, we hereby apprise the American people that we have exhausted all internal efforts to rectify recent criminal activity within the armed forces. In the Declaration of Independence, our founding fathers sought separation. We seek no separation, but through this letter and the efforts we pledge herein, we pursue restoration through accountability. We intend to rebuild, trust, and restore the rule of law, particularly within the armed forces. Ultimately, we strive to once again become a moral people, restoring our nation and making it again worthy of the great gift of liberty won by the colonial-era American people. While implementing the COVID-19 vaccine mandate, military leaders broke the law, trampled constitutional rights, denied informed consent, permitted unwilling medical experimentation, and suppressed the free exercise of religion. Service members and families were significantly harmed by these actions. Their suffering continues to be felt financially, emotionally, and physically. Some service members became part of our ever-growing veteran homeless population, some developed debilitating vaccine injuries, and some even lost their lives. In an apparent attempt to avoid accountability, military leaders are continuing to ignore our communications regarding these injuries and the laws that were broken. For General Milley, Admiral Grady, General McConville, Admiral Gilday, Admiral Letcher, General Brown, General Berger, General Smith, Vice Admiral Kilby, Vice Admiral Nowell, Vice Admiral Fuller, Lieutenant General Martin, Lieutenant General Davis, Major General Edmondson, General Williams, Admiral Fagan, Vice Admiral Buck, Lieutenant General Clark, Major General Francis, Lieutenant General Dingle, Lieutenant General Miller, Rear Admiral Gillingham, and numerous others. These individuals enabled lawlessness and the unwilling experimentation on service members. The moral and physical injuries they helped inflict are significant. They betrayed the trust of service members and the American people. Their actions caused irreparable harm to the armed forces and the institutions for which we have fought and bled. These leaders refuse to resign or take any other action to hold themselves accountable, nor have they attempted to repair the harm their policies and actions have caused. Since there has yet to be any accountability, the undersigned give our word to do everything morally permissible and legally possible to hold our leadership accountable. We intend to rebuild trust by demonstrating that leaders cannot cast aside constitutional rights or the law for political expediency. The flag and general officers are far from the only ones complicit in recent illegal activities, as a significant number of senior executive service leaders and political appointees contributed. Evidence indicates that other executive agencies are engaging in illegal activity. However, As service members and veterans, we feel particularly responsible for the DoD, and in accordance with our oaths, we will make every effort to demonstrate by example how an institution can put its own house in order. We, the undersigned, on behalf of hundreds of thousands of service members and the American people, while appealing to the Supreme Judge of the world for guidance and purity of intention, mutually pledge to each other that we will do everything in our power through lawful word and action to hold accountable military leaders who failed to follow the law when their leadership and moral courage was most desperately needed. In the coming years, thousands within our network will run for Congress and seek appointments to executive branch offices, while those of us still serving on active duty will continue to put fulfilling our oaths ahead of striving for rank or position. For those who achieve the lawful authority to do so, we pledge to recall from retirement the military leaders who broke the law and will convene courts martial for the crimes they committed. For those of us who attain legislative offices, we pledge to introduce legislation to remove all retirement income for the military leaders who were criminally complicit, and we will ensure none serve in or retire from the senior executive service. This endeavor will be a continuous process with a long-term time horizon, but fulfilling our oaths to defend the Constitution requires just such pertinent vigilance. Likewise, we are obligated and so commit to train those who come after us to fulfill their duty in achieving this accountability and safeguarding against such leadership failures hereafter. Our nation was once great because it was good. It was built on moral principles founded in natural law, and yet the recent acceleration of moral relativism has us headed towards a precipitous implosion. While all good things come to an end, we refuse to allow our nation to go quietly into the depths of decadence and decay. We promise to exhaust all moral, ethical, and legal means to restore the rule of law, and will begin by attempting to hold senior military leaders accountable. The Constitution is the supreme law of our land. We will fight to enforce that law and put an end to the two-tiered justice system. May future generations see our efforts, and God willing, may they also be recipients of the great gift of liberty that we have had the honor of safeguarding. The letter was signed by these heroes, brave men and women who have vowed to honor their oaths and our Constitution. Thank you for your service and bravery to do what is right and hold those that have forgotten accountable. May God continue to walk with you all. Please pray for them, share this letter, and may more join them in the battle for truth and justice. Thanks for listening.